Hello, fiber friends. I have a really fun project planned for today. I can't wait to show you what I'm up to. And I am going to tell you a story about a time that my cousin and I took a walk and accidentally time traveled. I'm not even kidding. We went back in time. It's a cool story. I'll tell you while I'm spinning. So let's get right to it. I have two luxurious bats to spin, and I have a project in mind for these bats as well. It's a very simple project. Anyone could follow along if you'd like to. I wanted to show you my two favorite ways to get a bat ready for spinning. And these are two very simple ways that you don't need any special equipment for. You just need the bat and then of course something to spin it with. I got both of these bats from Paradise Fibers. They are part of their collaboration with Compass Moon Creations, and I will have links and information down below if you are interested in checking these out for yourself. So here's what they are. Here's what the fiber is in these bats. This one is called Cherry Blossom, and it has alpaca, merino, CVM, Shetland, and Angelina Sparkle. And this bat is called Persian Pink, and it has alpaca, merino, Gotland wool, and a little Angelina Sparkle as well. When I'm finished with this project, I'm actually gonna have something I can wear. So excited. So I unroll this, you can see all the different colors and how they kind of are swirled in there. We have some of the natural colors down there, and some of the dyed pink colors. And what I want with this yarn is to actually create a 2-ply yarn that is going to be fairly bulky, and I am going to have one strand of each color, and that's going to mute this very, very bright pink a little bit, but it's also going to brighten up this a little bit more pale color as well. It's going to come out somewhere in the middle, sort of like when you mix paint. So the best way that I like to prep this is to tear it into strips. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this method makes sure that I get a good blend of all the layers of the colors and fibers and texture in each section that I'm spinning. This bat is all torn up and ready to spin. Next, we are going to get this Persian pink ready to go. Wow, this is a bright pink. Isn't that bright? I'm kind of into this very, very bright pink. It reminds me of my childhood in the 80s. All right, so what I'm going to do for this is create a roll log. Do you see what I just did here? I rolled up this bat and made a roll log. It's definitely bigger than a roll lag. It's definitely bigger than a roll lag. But what I'm going to do is pre-draft this out as if it were a roll lag. And so I've just kind of rubbed the fuzz here a little bit to keep it all together. And now I'm going to start drafting it out as if it was a roll lag, and take the end, floof it up just a bit, and I'm going to pull like this. And I don't want to pull it too thin. You can go thinner, but once it's thin, you can't go thicker without rejoining. Beth Edwards from Blue Mountain Handcrafts coined this term, roll log, and it's a term that she made up when she first experimented with different fiber tools to make roll lags. I'm gonna enunciate that A so we can hear the difference. So one of her results looked kind of like a rolag, but not quite. But she thought that the swirl of colors on the edges looked like rings in a tree, and they were really fat, fatter than rolags. So she started to call them rologs to differentiate from the thinner cousins. This bat has been stripped and this bat has been rologged. And I'm ready to spin. So I'll be using my Ashford Traditional right back there to get this all spun up, and I will show you how I'm doing a woolen long draw for both of these. I wanted to share with you, this is a true story. This happened to me and my cousin. We traveled in time, kind of Outlander style. We did, and oh, this project is gonna actually have a little Outlander kind of a thing going on too. You'll have to wait and see. When I was growing up, my family loved camping, and my grandparents went camping, and my aunt and uncle and all my cousins, and it was a way that we could all kind of have our family gatherings. I was about 12 years old when this happened. We usually went to the same campground every year. This year was different. I remember that because we were not actually on a lake this year. We were just kind of in a regular campground. And it was early in the morning. My aunt and uncle were getting everybody helping with breakfast. And my cousin and I were we were each the oldest of all of our siblings. We didn't want to help. So we decided we were going to take a walk for exercise so we could sneak out of doing any of the breakfast chores, getting things set up for breakfast. So we took a walk and we followed a trail until we decided we didn't want to follow the trail anymore. And we went off the trail. And that's where the adventure began. We went off the trail, we climbed down into this little, kind of like a little gully kind of a thing, and climbed up the other side. It was like this little, I remember it as a ravine, but I was a kid, so probably it was like a ditch. And we came up the other side through a few more trees, and then there was one of those kinds of fences where they split the logs, like a old kind of split log fence. We saw this fence, and my cousin was like, we should go back. And I was like, let's hop the fence, because I'm always up for adventure. But really, I saw something on the other side of the fence that I was really curious about. It was a log cabin. And I wanted to get a look at it. I sort of had assumed no one would be living in this log cabin. I kind of thought it was just an abandoned sort of thing. And so we hopped over this fence and we kind of made our way across this little field towards this log cabin. And as we were walking towards this log cabin, we started to notice that there were actually a lot of log cabin type buildings. And we kept going because at this point curiosity took over. We were like, what is this? And then we started to see the people. And the people, like I remember particularly the women, because they were wearing these bonnets and they had these long dresses, and they were carrying like baskets with fruit and stuff in them, different things. And we had traveled back in time. And so I was convinced. I've always loved fantasy. So that's exactly where my mind went. I thought we were having some sort of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe adventure. And we had been transported to another time and place, which we actually had. Because we went up to the people and we were like, well, my first question, because I'm such a nerd, was, what year is it? And the people were like, it's 1835. For real. That's what they said. That's what they said. And we could start to hear things happening, like there was like anvil sounds. So at this point, my cousin was like, we need to go back. We need to go back to the campground. And I was fully embracing 1835. Like, I was like, what if we can't make it back? And that's okay. I'm here. I'm happy here. Oh boy. And so I was asking these people stuff, and these people were like really, really helpful about coming to tell me all these things about what they were up to, what their plans were for the day, how they spent their time, all of the things that they did, hauling wood for their fires. These people were just very, very willing to tell me all about 1835. So my cousin finally convinced me to head back to the campground, and I told her that if we wanted to make our way back, we had to go exactly the way that we came, because maybe we time traveled because of going through that gully thing that we climbed through, or passing between a certain two trees. So I was very specific that we had to follow exactly the same path to make it back to present day. And we did. We went back, followed our same path exactly, and we made it back to the campground. And we had a discussion on the way back about whether or not we should tell our parents what had happened, that we had time traveled. But we decided not to, because we thought they wouldn't believe us anyway, so why bother? Well, we all had breakfast, and then our parents told us, hey, we're at a different campground this year because we're going to visit New Salem, the historically reconstructed town of Abraham Lincoln's childhood, reconstructed to look like an 1835 town. And it's full of historic interpreters who are very helpful and willing to tell you about all the things that they do during the day in their life. So we all got in the car, drove around to the front entrance, and came through the visitors center. And then my cousin and I were kind of like, oh, we've been here. We know this historic town. It wasn't time travel, but we were convinced. We thought we had traveled through time. And the people there, I mean, these history interpreters were no help, because they were absolutely confirming to me that we had gone back in time. And we had just gotten there right as they were opening. And so all these people were on their way to whatever their house was, their place where they would hang out and interpret history to the visitors. I time traveled. Oh, they have a carding machine there that I want to go back and see so badly. It is a really, really, really cool thing. It's driven, it's a carder, like for making bats. See the connection? We did it! History with bats. It's for carding wool into bats that people could spin. And this machine is huge. It is driven by oxen. And the oxen don't go around the machine. It's this really neat setup where there's like this big giant revolving disc, and the oxen walk on it and it spins around. I will have links so that you can go and check this out and get all of the very accurate information about this. There's only 3 of these particular machines left in the world, and they run the one in New Salem. I want to go back so badly, and I want to see them run this carding machine and put wool through it, because I think that would just be the most amazing experience. Almost as amazing as time travel. So that is my fun story. But I need to get back to the spinning, focus on the spinning, fill my bobbins, get plying, and then, because I guess we also have a time travel theme for this video, I will show you how I have a little Outlander that's going to appear in this final project. Let's focus on the spinning and get it done. The first bobbin is done. And before I forget, I had to take a little bit from each spin and put it in the 2021 project box to get spun up next distaff day. This came out better than I expected. I love this. This is so pretty. So it was 7 ounces of wool because each bat was 3.5 ounces. And with 2 plies, putting them together, I came out to about 250 yards, which is pretty amazing because the pattern that inspired this project called for 2 balls of wool that was 2.5 ounces, and it said 120 yards for each ball of yarn. So I was within 10 yards of what the commercial pattern called for. So for me, I'm very excited I was able to do that. I'm getting better, it's just practice. On the one side, I have these lines coming up with these knit stitches that just give it some cool texture. And on the other side, it's basically a very wide rib. This is how I'm going to style my shawl. I'm letting the edge roll just a little bit because it'll be nice and soft on my neck. And then I have this side a little longer and this side a little shorter. And then I have, this is my little Outlander thing. I have a penannular brooch that I got to fasten my shawls. There it is, and there's my finished project. If you enjoyed my story and watching me complete this project, give this video a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. I have a lot more projects coming up very soon. So I hope you all have happy spinning, and I'll see you next time.